Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor General, for your very compelling testimony and the people of Ukraine's resistance, resilience, heroism. It's impressed all the world and certainly me and this body. We are hearing a lot, of course, the immediate news is what Russia is doing in Ukraine and the horrendous impact of its human suffering as a result of its war crimes. But, you know, we really shouldn't be surprised, because if you look at the history of Russia, it certainly confirms that they're likely doing it in Ukraine. You look at Mali, you look at Chechnya, you look at Syria, you look at Central African Republic. They've been charged with war crimes in all of those places. So what they're doing now is more immediate and certainly perhaps more involving children, but it's not surprising. This is a long history that they have. I would ask you, what about some of the independent agencies or NGOs? How helpful are they, and what could they be doing? Radio Free Europe, Red Cross, Amnesty International, Doctors Without Borders, are they there on the ground and being helpful?
First of all, thank you for mentioning Russia as a state who used to abuse and to international law and order. You mentioned actually some jurisdictions where Russia is actively acting against law and order globally, using their criminal groups like Wagner Group. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is a momentum where Europe, Ukraine, and United States, and all of our other allies should be united in order to put an end for such groups like Wagner Group, mm-hmm. who are earning money illegally in some countries of Africa and use this money to kill our people in Ukraine, and use this money to support those members of Wagner Group who commit war crimes against our prisoners of war, against our civilians on occupied territories. So for this we need to be united. I think it's a momentum to do it. For the question you asked, we have a strongest support from the non-governmental and civil society organizations in Ukraine. We have a group under in my office, which is named the Group of International Experts, where we have 6 directions of activity with regard to investigation and prosecution of war crimes, starting from children, sexual violence, and others, including the protection of rights of media, of journalists who were killed and suffered during this war of aggression. Because we have internationally, we have foreign journalists who were also killed, and we're investigating these cases together with other, my colleagues from other countries. But this group includes more than 40 NGOs and civil society organizations, and most of them are supported by grants from the United States and from European Union countries. And for this makes it possible for them to help us in documenting and prosecuting war crimes, to help to deal with victims and survivors, especially from vulnerable groups. And this work is extremely important. We are communicating with them on a permanent basis. I have a special envoy in my office who is communicating with all our NGOs and civil society organizations. So we are united with them, and their support is very important.
I'm glad to hear that. That's great. Let me ask you about some of Russia's allies, like Belarus. Are they engaged in this too, or should they be held accountable when all is said and done?
We have the citizens of Belarus who are identified as war criminals, and we have cases against them. Even some of them are already finished with conviction. I firmly remember about one case. And we, of course, for us, doesn't matter who from which country war criminal is. Yeah. If war crime is committed, on Ukrainian land against Ukrainians wherever. We indict and we convict all of them. Thank you.
Thank you. I yield back.